Congressional delegation, Democrats and Republicans alike, met with Governor Hochul in Washington, D.C. today. The governor hosted a delegation-wide event, although one lawmaker was notably left off the invitation list. Kevin Frey in our Washington, D.C. bureau joins us now with tonight's top story. Good evening, Kevin.
Yeah, good evening, Earl. This was the first time that the governor has had a chance to meet with the delegation since they were all sworn in back in January. Of course, there are a lot of new faces, a lot of turnover in the delegation since the last Congress, so a chance to meet some new people, though, as you mentioned, one person conspicuously not there. Governor Hochul with a message for New York lawmakers in Washington. Make sure the Empire State is getting its fair share of resources from recent laws signed by the president, and fast.
I need them to be champions for more support, quicker approvals of some of the projects to get the infrastructure, shovels in the ground. We're very anxious to move ahead with a lot of the projects.
The gathering, Hochul's first with the delegation since the new members were sworn in last month. Democrats and Republicans alike touted the meeting as constructive, even if there were some policy disagreements. Lawmakers each pressing their priorities.
We have beaches to be restored, highways to be repaired, things that are essential to quality of life and property values.
We need to expand housing and actually build housing that's affordable to New Yorkers.
Notably absent from the meeting, embattled Congressman George Santos, who's under fire for fabricating large parts of his resume. The governor's office saying he was not invited. Members of the congressman's own party not upset by his absence.
No one noticed that George Santos was not here.
He is literally taking all the oxygen out of the room, and any work that we can do on either side of the aisle that is beneficial to the people that we represent, the focus is on George Santos.
We caught up with Santos to ask about the meeting.
Is it a problem to not have been invited with the rest of the delegation? Barely to your job?
Kevin, I have no idea what you're talking about.
But his office later said it was unfortunate the congressman was not included. The meeting comes just one day after Santos grabbed headlines at the State of the Union, staking out a seat on the center aisle, where he had a tense exchange with Utah Republican Senator Mitt Romney, who told Santos he does not belong in Congress. Santos responding this way Wednesday.
I think it's reprehensible that the senator would say such a thing to me in the demeaning way he said. It wasn't very Mormon of him. That's what I can tell you.
Now, one other commentary we did hear today from Congressman Nicolota, who you saw in the piece. He represents Long Island. He was one of the first people to come out and really call for Santos to resign. He told me today, when we were talking about the situation last night at the State of the Union, Santos putting himself in the middle there, the way that he interacted with Mitt Romney, he said that he is a sociopath. This is him describing Santos, who actually likes the negative attention. One Republican calling another a sociopath. Errol?
Wow. I guess there's some evidence of that. Sitting in the center aisle, it's where you go to be noticed, and I guess he wanted to be noticed. Mission accomplished. Kevin, the members of Congress, I'm sure, had a lot to say to the governor about what it is they want from her, right? I mean, it's not real, even though she went to Washington, this isn't just about getting stuff out of the federal government. These folks have needs in their local districts as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the give and take of the conversation about prioritizing different projects back home. How do you make sure the federal money is getting to Albany, then getting out to the various localities, ensuring that they're able to get some of these projects off the ground? And then you also have some Republicans who have been critical of the budget that Hochul just rolled out recently, in particular some of the ways that money is being shifted away from the counties, especially from previous county administrators. So there is some give and take there. Certainly some criticism from some of the Republicans about some of her policies, but nonetheless, especially for those new fresh faces, trying to basically present this as we're starting a conversation, trust but verify.
And Kevin, this is one of the few times we've been able to put a camera in the room, but how often does the New York delegation, all of them, Republicans and Democrats, how often would you say they actually get together?
Not all that frequently, at least in this large group where you actually have all of them coming together at the same time. Certainly, you see various different portions of the delegation meeting in different capacities. You have different progressives that kind of buddy up together. Certainly the Republicans from New York, especially the new Republicans, you've seen them together a lot on the House floor of late, kind of all sitting together in a row for the State of the Union. But this sort of mass gathering, especially with a figure like the governor coming to town, is not a very frequent occurrence.
Okay, sign of good things to come, perhaps. Thank you, Kevin.